Did you know that I said 57 times in the last video? I surely did when I was editing. I did not realize that I had said that word that much. I'm not the type of guy to just slip in a every single sentence. That has never been me. That never has been me. So yeah, sorry, I apologize. I don't know what came over me. I do say a lot though, so I think I try to. I went in with the mindset of trying not to use because who wants to hear that? I want to sound confident. I was about to say but I want to sound confident. That fits. And it looks like I've replaced my need to fill in words with instead of So yeah, that has severely annoyed me, and I'll try to keep that in mind going forward. You can use a couple times. I think a rate of 10 words per 10 use cases per 20-minute recording session. Not 57. That was egregious. I actually had to edit some of them out, so 57 was not even the final number there. Okay, let's actually go explore. I didn't want to talk about Minecraft in the first one. I kind of wanted to see how far I could go without having to rely on what was around me, building my base or referring to how I was in a Badlands biome. Aren't they pretty rare? Yeah, so we can talk about the actual game we're playing now. Yes, this is Minecraft. We built our first base. I like the skylight that I added. Every playthrough has to start with I said it again. That was part of my quota. I think I'm up to 4 in this video, not including that one. But yeah, I really like the skylight included because it was just pretty dark. I need to get coal because I kind of want to lit up with the mines with torches. Get some mining going. Half of the game we've crafted. Let's actually go mining. We've got our food. I've made a furnace. I didn't even cook the food, but you know what? I love eating raw things. I like my steak medium rare or rare. I actually should know which kind of steak I like. I like rare, but at the end of the day, I kind of do want it cooked as well. You know what I'm saying? Anything but well done. One time I went to, it was probably the first time I got taken advantage of at a restaurant. It was, I was on a trip, so I was in the mood to spend a little more than my usual level of spending. If this restaurant was, located in my local area, I would not have given it a chance. I'm not paying not local prices for average food. But, I'm on a trip, so, what are you going to do? Yeah, it was like a steakhouse place. They specialized in all things grilled. And I thought I'd treat myself. Instead of getting the normal rump steak they had, I got the slightly more expensive ribeye fillet. Now the gimmick of this place was they served all of the food on a stone plate. Not a plate, but like a stone cube. It was dead ass just Minecraft. Yeah, see this here? If this was one of those andesites or something, it was that. Just served on a cube, and it was just like a steak put on top of it. It was still living by the time I got it. It was not even cooked. I was under the impression that they would cook it a little and then serve it to you, and you can finish it off, have some sense of accomplishment. But no, I was greatly wrong. It was as raw as can be. I don't know why the steak was that expensive if I had to cook it. I'm no Michelin star chef. I have no clue what I'm doing. I should not be responsible to cook my own steak. The caption of the menu item said, as tender as whatever, as the blue sky. It sounded really good. I'm like, you know what? I want to know how tender I can get. I can have how tender steak can be. You know, they said cuts like butter. Boy, can I tell you, it did not cut like butter. Completely my fault, but you know, you can't really blame the user for a bad experience. Like it was like a mini game. It was not a fun one at that. I had to quickly like turn the steak side to side, ensuring I didn't, you know, completely cook one side. Like I tried to, you know, evenly cook it, whatever you're meant to do, get a nice sear, but then, you know, I'd cut into the steak and it'd be completely red in the middle, not even cooked at all. And then I had to, you know, divide and conquer, cut it up into little bits and try to, you know, create little steak pieces, but yeah, it was just a mess, and I ended up having 27 little well done chunks by the end, because you know the plate is gonna sizzle whether you like it or not. There's no off button. It's not a hot plate. It's legit just straight out of an oven, probably a kiln, and yeah, it was a mess. So yeah, I have no clue where the cost of the steak was deduced, you know, where, you know, staffing costs, but you know, you didn't need to have a chef, because I was the chef, and there was no subsidy applied there. I was paying chef prices, so to speak. So I've got no clue why the steak was that expensive. Maybe they got it so fresh that they killed a cow at the back just to give me it. I don't know, but yes. So I did like my food raw, but you know, not to that level of rawness. But another difference from last video is that there is no crosshair on the screen. Apart from my extensive use of the word you know, I also found it annoying that I had a fat ass crosshair. I looked at other people's videos to see, you know, what they had rocking on, and they have this super ultra thin crosshair. It's super small, you know, you can hardly see it. It's only for a visual aid for the user, and as a viewer, you know, you hardly notice it. I looked at my video and it was super noticeable. I was like installing 27 different mod packs, deleting and reinstalling, and I just my solution was just to delete the crosshair entirely. That's why I'm kind of half blind here when I try and mine things. Oh, Cole, thank you. I am kind of technologically inept when it comes to installing mods. When I was a kid, I really wanted to play Pixelmon, but I had no clue. I could not install Pixelmon to save my life. It was complete rocket science when I was young, and it still kind of is. I couldn't even install a basic crosshair mod pack that made a crosshair smaller. Oh, would you look at that? It's a little shrine they've got going on. Oh, hello, Angolem. Damn, this is pretty cool. I've never seen a well form like that. They can really have bells in between. That's interesting. Yeah, no crosser, and I can't even aim properly. But recently, a primary school group chat got resurfaced on my Instagram feed. Someone uploaded some random message about a reunion the school was planning. Might I add, the tickets to attend such a reunion cost $50, and I thought, who in their right mind is paying for a $50 ticket just to attend some ceremony for a 145-year anniversary? Not even 150 years, 145. That is shocking. Why couldn't they wait 5 more years? I haven't heard of a 130-year or 140 anniversary. No, they wanted to do 145. But anywho, it reminded me of a story. One of the stories I have of my life. If I had a time machine, going back to this day would be one of the things. I think it would be the first thing I do. If I had a time machine, going back to this place and fixing it would be the number one thing on my list. So it begins with a competition run by Paddle Pops. Paddle Pops, I'm pretty sure, are a global, recognizably known brand, but just in case you are not privy, paddle pops are like just a basic ice cream. It's creamy. It's not a fruity, icy kind. Over here they have a rainbow flavor, which people go ravenous about. Uh, I would like to see a resurgence of paddle pops. I haven't had a good paddle pop in a while. Now I'm a Cyclone fanatic. People have now elevated. They're eating Magnums, connoisseurs, cornettos. What happened to the good old paddle pop? I say make the paddle pop great again. But anyway, paddle pops were big in my time, my youth. They were running competitions left, right, and center. This one was you had to collect matching sets of paddle pop sticks. I've closed the door. Oh, I've not. Yeah, you had to collect matching sets of paddle pop sticks to get the prizes. So, for example, the big ticket item was a family trip, all expenses paid, to some theme park in America. If you cannot tell by my accent, I live in Australia, so that would have been a very good prize. I've never been to America, but had I won this prize, I would have been enjoying the peaks and thrills of whatever resort they were going to send us to. But yeah, that was the sort of thing. So you had to collect 3 of the trains, complete the image, and, import those codes onto the website and claim your prize, that sort of thing. So, most of them were sets of 3 or sets of 2. You could get the occasional 1 stick prize, so you would only need to get 1 stick to claim your free paddle pop. Or I can't remember what other prizes there were, but that was the exciting one. When you finish your paddle pop stick and you lick down furiously to see what prize you had gotten, and it was another paddle pop, infinite paddle pops. It was this was my longest unbroken chain. Let me see if I can remember how many paddle pops I had gotten in that day. So, with my family, my mom and my dad, my parents buy me a paddle pop stick, rainbow flavor, of course. That was the only one I repped. Occasionally I would go with banana, or caramel. Caramel was also a close second, but you can't go wrong with rainbow. Who knows what rainbow tastes like? Skittles claim they know, but paddle pop rainbow flavor is, as far as I'm concerned, the true source of a rainbow flavor. Anywho, I'd gotten, a paddle pop with, and I'd, quickly licked, eating it aggressively, licking down, and it says, "Oh, you've redeemed a free paddle pop. Let's go." So I go, I finished this one. I'm ravenous for more. Can I go back? So we walk back to 7-Eleven. I show the man the stick, and now thinking about it, it was pretty unhygienic. Like what was he doing with the sticks? Like, did he just have to store it in some place, and some paddle pop representative would come back and collect the merchandise? Like, what was the setup there? I'm not sure. But anywho, so I got the stick. I got the new paddle pop stick, and I was eating that, and I had gotten again. I'd hit again, so another free paddle pop, and I was in a bit of a daze. I'd had 2 paddle pops, but I was in my prime, my youthful prime. I could eat 7 if I wanted to. So my parents couldn't believe it. They thought it'd be funny if I went back again to redeem another. So we walked around the shopping center a bit, and then we came back to 7-Eleven. The man, I don't know, but maybe he had a look of shock. By the way, this kind of stone was exactly what the diorite was definitely what they served the meat on. But yeah, I went to the 7-Eleven. I got myself another paddle pop. I handed in my stick with pride to the man, and he humbly accepted, avoiding my licked parts of the stick. And then I'm finishing this one much slower. I've just had, what is it? 3? No, this would have been my 3rd paddle pop. I just had 2 paddle pops in a row. And lo and behold, it is actually another free paddle pop. I don't know how this happened. He must have mixed in a bunch of batches, a bunch of orders of paddle pops, so all in the freezer. Because I didn't get the run on the top. It was a game of chance, so I dug around a bit. So I must have struck lucky. But yeah, I was not insane. Although I said my limit was 7, I was not going to be able to eat 7. But no, that's not why I told the story. The story gets much crazier. That was not relevant enough for a time travel use. The story begins with my birthday. So it's my birthday, and it's tradition for someone on their birthday, if they're nice, to bring something to share with the people in your class and your teachers. So my mom bought 2 packs of 15 packs of paddle pops, rainbow flavored, to bring to school. So we popped them in the freezer, and when it was time for lunch, I humbly gave them out to everyone, and in celebration, me and my friend devised a plan to retrieve the paddle pop sticks that people were throwing in the bin. I couldn't let this thing go to waste. So once everyone had, finished, we scouted the popular bins, and luckily the bins were empty by the time we got there, so there were really just a few odd items and the paddle pop sticks, so we didn't have to really go digging through trash. But because they were empty, we did have to empty it out, and we must have looked all very suspicious. So we sifted through the paddle pop sticks we found, and to no luck, I did not complete any sets that I currently had in possession. However, this is where the story takes a turn. Now, there was this person, let's call her Teresa. Teresa came over with her goofy ass smile and said, "Look what I have here." Now, something about Teresa is that she's an attention seeker. If we want something, she now wants it even more. So with that in mind, I kid you not, from the paddle pops that I humbly gave out, she had the last piece of the train set, the big ticket item. And I'm not mistaken here. It wasn't just, a hallucination. My young child brain not being wise enough to see through her tricks. Though I wouldn't put it past her. She would definitely pull off some illusions to trick me. I don't mean to spoil the story, but I do think Teresa could be some carnation of a devil sort of figure. She is pure evil, and I can say that with chest. So yeah, she showed us what she had, and my eyes lit up. I genuinely could not believe it. Now, if they're giving away like 1 or 3 or 5 of these trips, of these prizes, they're only going to print out 5 of the final pieces to ensure that 7 people don't actually claim things. So that she had the rare one. I had the other 2 like everyone else, but she had the rare one. So I asked, do you play the game? And she says no. Is this a good one? And I am the age of maybe 7, maybe 12. I was maybe 10. I was probably 10. No. I am less than 10 years old. So I was not wise to tricks of lying and deceit. I honestly told her that, yeah, that is really rare. Can I have it, please? I didn't say that. I don't think I was that dumb, but it was obvious to her that I really wanted it, so she knew that I was good. And then she goes, no. And I go, why? It's my birthday. And she goes, no. And now I'm not the type of guy to use my birthday as a ploy to gain sympathy, but This is a $5,000 prize. More than that, we're talking about. I'm gonna use any trick in the book to secure this, so I can have a trip to America for my family. So she didn't give it. She refused to give it, and it was terrible. She showed it in my face. I saw it all day, and she refused to give it. So had I gotten a time machine, I would have gone back, met her outside of school. I don't care how suspicious it looks, and I would have ripped it out of her hand. I'm sorry. I would have handed it back to myself, and I would have been on my way to Disneyland or whatever. I really regret, not using whatever force I could have applied in that moment to do a maneuver and get that stick out of her hand. So cruel, like, especially on my birthday. And considering I had paid for them, if this was crowdfunded, if this was, a teacher out of the kindness of her heart buying a bunch of paddle pops for her kids, I get it. I have no right to claim. That is not mine, no matter how avid I was at playing that game. But no, she clearly saw no value. She didn't know what it was. I asked her, do you even know what that is? And she had no clue. So I came home and I was gutted. The prize was right in front of me. My dreams were right in front of me. And they were out of reach. The day was over. She had gone home. She was not going to bring it back to school and flaunt it again. If so, I was ready. We would have planned an Ocean's 11 sort of stunt to retrieve that from her possession. But yeah, it was over. Once the bell rang 3, all chances of me going on an American trip out the window. So as unbelievable as that may seem, I can assure you that actually happened. There's a bit of an epilogue to the story. The friend who was accompanying me, my right-hand man who was helping me dig through the bins for looking for sticks, he claimed to have found it. He, the next day, was looking around, saw it on the floor, and had it. And I was elated. This idiot Teresa just left it around, clearly with no sense of value of what this thing was worth. A kid's dream was embedded into that stick. So then he, wasn't an idiot. He wanted a trade. Despite him helping me with the competition, I don't think he was that privy to the value of the item. I probably told him that it was the last thing to complete my set, and he probably thought it was like a DVD player or some other small prize, not a big ticket item. So I offered a trade, and now it was sort of like a Shark Tank pitch. Who was going to lead with the higher number first? I didn't want to give him a number high enough to think that it was more valuable, despite it being quite valuable. So I, negotiated with him, and I successfully offered a trade for he was big into cars, so I had some replica Audi car, something. Huh. Have I just stumbled upon a stronghold, or is that a trial chamber? Tough blocks. Okay, that must be a trial chamber. Very interesting. Well, okay, I'll leave that for another time. Yeah, so I offered a replica Audi car in exchange for the missing piece, and I was excited. So I had to bring the Audi car the next day, and I brought it to him. He inspected it. He was happy. He passed over the stick, and a deep sinking feeling was in my heart as I immediately knew that it was not the missing piece. It was the other side of the train, the beginning, as so to speak. I was gutted. I don't even know if I gave him the car. I was probably mad with rage. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of the paddle pop story. I resent Teresa to this day. If I ever cross paths with her again, someone's gonna have to hold me back. This person is definitely top 5 enemies of all time. Imagine how different I would have turned out. have had this enriching, life-changing experience on a trip to America, riding theme parks all day, just to say that I was a person that won one of those prizes. You never hear of people winning those prizes, but I could have been one of those people. But alas, that is not what happened. No trip for me, just a sad story I would tell on a YouTube video many years later. And with that note, carpe diem, and have a good day.